During the COVID-19 lockdown, one of India's most noted diabetologists went looking for India-specific, scientifically grounded book on diets. Now he says that he could not find any. That led to him working for the next 5 years on a mission on his book, which he has now come up with. Dr. Anoop Mishra, chairman of Fortis CDOC Hospital and Padma Shri awardee, he has been a personal physician to two of India's former prime ministers. He's with us today. He has come up with his book called Smart Calories and Common Sense. It's a book which has around 300 references, and it's an evidence based breakdown of almost all the myths that we Indians probably live with, whether it's keto diets, diabetes reversal, diet coke, ghee, artificial sweeteners. The book has everything. So today we are joined by Dr. Mishra. Thank you so much for joining us, sir. And we are going to talk about his book and also try and separate some facts from the myths. So, Dr. Mishra, you have taken around 5 years to write the book. What I want to first begin asking you is, during this research period when you were writing the book, what really surprised you the most? Something that you have believed as a clinician in your practice, and while researching, you came across a science backed fact that, it led to you realizing or maybe unlearning that science basically forced you to revise.
You want to say that a particular myth
Hmm.
that I want to burst or wanted to burst for a long time. One myth which has increasingly become common is that you should leave wheat, that you should leave rotis and go to something else. Now, that other carbohydrate, whichever you choose, may be better, may be worse. But the first thing is, why should you at all leave roti, which are good source of protein, good source of fiber, and don't have too much of calories and have a glycemic index which is actually seen for any patient with diabetes. If it's high, it's not good. If it's low, which is good. And rotis have intermediate glycemic index. But this is a myth which has been perpetrated and increasingly prevalent. And almost every patient which comes to me talks about, doc, I have left rotis, or should I leave roti? The thing is that unless you are gluten intolerant, there is no reason that you should leave roti. But on the other hand, if you want to make rotis better, make a more complex carbohydrate out of them so that the blood sugar spikes are not too much, then we mix either besan, jowar, bajra, all these in a good proportion, 50 to 75% and 25% of wheat, and you're ready for a good meal, and your blood sugar spikes are not going to be that much. So that's what I tell my patients, that don't leave roti but make roti a bit better, and you'll be fine as far as your blood sugar is concerned, or otherwise your health is concerned. Your protein will be there, your fiber will be there, and these are good for health.
Sir, you spoke about one myth about wheat and roti, but you also wrote in the book that a lot of your time in your practice you spend bursting myths, and a lot of people come to you with questions which are long believed. Some more myths, some misinformation that's around now. We have social media; people all the time refer to reels and stuff that they read online. So, how basically, what are the other commonly faced myths that you come across from your patients?
Yes. The second common myth for the people from North India is that ghee is a superfood. And people from South India, coconut oil is the superfood. And every day, today I saw a couple of patients who told me that, doc, everybody says ghee is very good, and you are saying ghee is not very good. So this is another very prevalent myth, and this is often going around in the TikTok and in the Instagram and WhatsApp. The fact is that ghee we are emotionally attached to. It's something which has been, handed out from generations to us. And our grandfathers, my mother, always said, "Why don't you put 2 teaspoons of ghee in your dal?" So those people thought that ghee was better, but at those days were different. People used to travel, just walk several miles, and go. I used to go to school by walking several kilometers. So things like that. Very physically active people. So perhaps damage done by ghee was not so much. But today, if you ask me, and if I am a couch potato, and over which I eat ghee, which is the saturated fat, this will do damage to me. And what way? It will do damage to the liver, it may do damage to the arteries, it will just sit there and not get away and start doing damage in the body. Now, some people say, "Oh, ghee is very good for knees, my knees are bad," and people say, "Eat a lot of ghee." Ghee doesn't do anything to the knee. That is the, scientific part. And the other thing is that in people who are pregnant, women who are pregnant, and or given birth, then people say, "Oh, for strength, ghee is the thing that we must give to this woman." As a result, they gain weight. And once they gain weight, and they cannot do too much of exercise because of small baby or things like that, they do not leave behind their weight gain during pregnancy. So weight increases and increases. So in women especially, this is a myth which has been perpetuated and which actually damages their health. So this is the second prevalence.
Most prevalent myth that you come across. You've also written on keto diets. A lot of people I've seen ordering diet cokes, saying that we are on diet, so we'll have just a diet coke. And then there is a lot that you've written on Mediterranean diet, which is very prevalent. Then diabetes reversal. So if you could talk slightly about each of them.
Yeah, so there are several kinds of diet, and so keto diet is one of them. The diabetes reversal diet is there. There's a replacement diet, and there's Mediterranean diet, and so many others. Uh, a word about keto diet. Keto diet is a severe diet in the sense that uh, you have a lot of saturated fat in the diet, lot of coconut oil also. So this is a high fat diet, low carbohydrate diet. So a ketogenesis is generated. Ketogenesis is an acid in the body. Once a little bit of acid in the body is there, and then your appetite goes down. So these people have low appetite and they lose weight. Now, this is a diet which is not usual to us. It is alien to us. And once you take that diet, you cannot continue for a long time. So short time it is okay, and that too in people which are carefully selected for this diet. So not everybody. For example, pregnant women, no. In people with diabetes on certain drugs, no. In people with kidney disease, no. So these are contraindication to keto diet. So for short run, under supervised environment, keto diets are good. A person loses weight pretty fast, but long-term sustenance, no. This diet cannot be sustained for a long time. The second diet, which is very well talked about and is excellent diet, is a Mediterranean diet, where in Mediterranean region, lot of plants, fruit, vegetables, olive oil, wine, fish, and nuts. This is the component of the whole diet. And this has been shown to decrease the weight, improve diabetes, increase lifespan also to a certain extent in indirect studies, and better liver health and heart health. In fact, this is the most proven of all the diets. The problem is, as far as Indian context is concerned, that very difficult to translate this into an Indian context. Although you can do that. increase the fruits, vegetables, but people are vegetarians, so they don't eat fish. People don't take alcohol, so wine is out. But nuts you can incorporate and things like so. Indo-Mediterranean diet has been tested, and so that is possible. Uh, so that would be a very good diet. Now, as far as diabetes reversal diet is concerned, now initial studies several years back in UK, the first few weeks of the diets were very low calorie diet for reversal of diabetes. So 800 calories, which is, say, I would say you would require 1400 to 1600 calories. 800 is just half. And that too, many people were given liquid of 800. So first few weeks, they really lost weight. And their diabetes, blood sugar shot down. And they were off medication. So after that, a little bit of ease off in their diet, maybe a couple of hundred calories added, and then continued. It was seen that many people reversed their diabetes. But the key was weight loss. If a person lost 15% of the total body weight, then chances of reversal were very high. And if person did not lose weight, chances of reversal are very less. So key was weight loss, and the prime mover was diet. But currently, we have so many other things. For example, those who cannot, very few people can take 800 kilocalorie diet. Those who cannot take, we have weight loss drugs, which we can use to induce similar amount of weight loss. So diabetes can be not reverse. Reverse is not the correct word. Put in remission, because at some point of time it may come back again. So it cannot be cured, but remission. Remission is the correct word. So this is another. So currently, in the clinic that you are sitting in, many people ask for reversal of diabetes, but they are not ready for 800 kilocalorie, very low calorie diet. So these are three diets. There are many more diets, and uh, the prevalent dietary trends are only increasing. But I would say some of those are fat diets. For example, another diet I would like to mention is intermittent fasting. Uh, Intermittent fasting, there are several ways of intermittent fasting. Either you can do one day, you just don't eat for 16 hours, eat for 8 hours, or every third day you don't eat, 2 out of 7 days, 3 out of 7 days you don't eat, and things like that. So there are several ways of. Now, the problem with intermittent fasting is it's something like Ramadan fasting. You don't eat for several hours, and suddenly you start want to eat a lot of it. All junk also. Junk in the what I mean is that plenty of carbohydrate, plenty of oil food. So, for example, biryani in the night or
So
something like
eating
that.
a lot whenever you do.
Sure. So this becomes a problem that once you eat anything that comes in front of you. And the second thing is that some of the studies which have been done over a period of time have found that those on intermittent fasting versus generally calorie restrictive diets, both are similar as far as outcomes are concerned. And some of the recent studies have shown that maybe there is harm to the heart once you do intermittent fasting. So it's not something which should be tried for everybody. A person is relatively healthy and without much of severe diabetes, heart disease, or kidney disease, then supervised intermittent fasting for a finite period of time.
Okay. So we'll come to the question on GLP-1 drugs that you mentioned. But the book actually has some 18 accessible mini essays that are tackling some of these specific questions. Two of them you have already talked about. So these are very interesting in the ways that very suitable for general audience to know about. So for our viewers, we'll just quickly go through some of them that I found interesting. You've already talked about intermittent fasting, then you've also written about reversing diabetes with a diet. Can we do that? So that question mark, it does a lot. I mean, what you've already spoken a little about that. So can we reverse diabetes with some diet?
So, like I said, reversal is not the correct word, remission is the
Remission.
word. Yes, we can in selected individuals. Those who select carefully. For example, the diabetes cannot be put in remission in a person who's thin, only in obese person, and weight loss is the key. So, yes, it can be, but once a person loses weight, sugar goes down, person starts gaining weight, sugar may come back.
Okay. One of the portions also talk about gluten-free diets, that they are not always good for health, which is obviously contrary to public opinion. You spoke about in the beginning. So this will actually shock some of our urban Indian audience who have made gluten-free their lifestyle. Uh, you also spoke about. So what does science actually say about?
Science is very clear that those who are gluten sensitive, in the sense that they have a certain antibodies which are positive, clearly scientifically proven to be having the celiac disease, should be on gluten-free diet. That's less than 1% of the whole population. Now, a couple of more percentage have some sort of a gluten intolerance without antibody positive. They also, so maybe 2-3%. Rest 95% don't need a gluten-free diet, not at all. So that's a current trend. By I feel that is driven by multi-million dollar industry, which is gluten-free foods, and certain people who are extremely passionate about this, but this is vastly short of science. And hence, those who are on gluten-free diet and come to my clinic and they are antibody negative and no other problems as far as gluten insensitivity is concerned, I take them off gluten-free diet and put them on gluten.
Hmm. Another thing that you've written about is dietary fats and oils that may make you ill. So, which is grandmother's diet may not be the suitable one for the current generation. So that's actually, I mean, it's actually a very bold claim. What's the core argument behind this?
Core argument is again plenty of greasy, oily, carbohydrate laden food which our grandmother used to prepare, And so, like I said, plenty of ghee in the dal, lot of chawal, everything, and she keeps on feeding with love. She thinks that food is something, the more you take, more love you give to the children. I think that was the attitude earlier, and that is something which is not exactly fitting in with the current lifestyle and current stresses and current body phenotype.
Hmm. Also about artificial sweeteners. So Indians with diabetes, they are switching more to sweeteners in droves. Like, what should they know about whether who should have them? Can we have them at all?
Yes. Um, See, the trend is that if you take artificial sweeteners, you will lose weight. That is what they think. The second thing is those people who have diabetes think that their blood sugar will be better if don't take sugar and take artificial sweeteners. While actually fact may be opposite of that. That it has been shown those who take artificial sweeteners don't have a satiety feeling in their brain. Artificial sweetener does not produce satiety like the sugar does, intake of sugar. And hence you tend to eat more actually after artificial sweeteners. And so many studies have shown that increase in the body weight, increase in diabetes, increase in other metabolic problems with the intake of these artificial sweeteners. So that is something which has been clearly written, and a statement by WHO says that there is no health benefits of artificial sweeteners. That is number one. Number two, that it may produce harm. Harm could be, there are some studies which have raised red flags about cancer, about heart disease with the use of artificial sweeteners. So if a patient comes to me, I would say take maybe one helping of artificial sweetener and nothing much. And if you want to mix, I have a diabetic patient, if you want to mix a little bit of half teaspoonful, 1 teaspoon of sugar in your morning tea, I have no problem as far as that is concerned. If your blood diabetes is overall well controlled, so I allow them a little bit of sugar.
All right. Also, one of the, I mean, what is one old fashioned idea that people can really stick to? Something that we have already always known, because the preface of the book also ends with the line that, the book recommends something refreshingly old fashioned, but something that is firmly rooted in solid evidence. You have written. So, what is that?
I think sticking to the frugal diets, which we still practice in the villages, and we used to have these diets earlier, which means just coarse grain in the diet and little bit of protein in the form of dal, etc. Little bit of dairy, which is low fat dairy. This has been the diet earlier also. And roti ज्वार बाजरा की अगर आप बना लें वो अच्छा, वो वही गांव में मिलती है। आज हम मैं एक गांव में जाता हूँ तो वो लोग यही खिलाते हैं। उनकी खिचड़ी भी कोर्स ग्रेन की होती है, तो उनकी खिचड़ी वो चावल की नहीं होती है। सो दोज आर द थिंग्स जो हमारे ओल्ड फैशन, दैट विल सेव अस if we apply them 80% of the time. I know not everybody can do 100% of the time, but 80% of the time. So we go back in time, adopt those habits, be limited in our overall intake. If I'm taking 100 today, I, I should take 80 probably, 20% we should leave out. And we should be on a healthier track.
Quickly from you, some uh, good protein sources for vegetarians. I think a lot of people will thank me for asking this question to you, and for me also.
So yes, vegetarian. There is always a problem as far as protein is concerned, and that's why perhaps vegetarian have generally lower strength, lower muscle mass, and so on. Uh, the common proteins for vegetarians will be something like dal, something like rajma, paneer, the uh, the milk with low fat milk, dahi, again low fat dahi. But most important will be soya. Soya is commercially available, and you can make so many things out of soya. So that is perhaps the most important and best source for protein for a vegetarian. And of course, you can have there is some live food, something like you put some dal or chana in the water, have them germinated and eat it. That is also good.
Also, Dr. Noop, there's a lot of curiosity about supplements. There are a lot of supplements, protein supplements, vitamin D, omega 3 supplements in the market. Who should have these supplements? Who needs them? Who can avoid it?
Every supplement has its place provided it is used carefully. For example, you are physically active, your blood profile is entirely normal, you don't need any supplement. You need just natural food, variety of food, plenty of fruits, vegetables, nuts. All these are very good. No need for supplement. On the other hand, there is a 80-year-old woman who, if you look at her, she's very frail. Her blood protein is down. She needs protein supplement. She says, I cannot eat too much. I have limited appetite. Then we say, well, take 2 scoops of protein supplement and take it every day. Similarly, a person who has blood fats like triglycerides, which are very high, say 400 of triglycerides. Some people have that. Indians particularly have that. In that case, omega 3 will be a good option. But if blood triglycerides are less than 150, no need for omega 3 supplement. But on the other hand, vitamin D supplement, may be required by many, because 70 to 80% of the people are deficient in vitamin D. Despite working in outside in the sun, they are also deficient. And similarly, if you look at vegetarians, then B12 is a deficiency which is widespread. So 50 to 60% of the people who are vegetarian have B12 deficiency. Sometimes to the point that we have to give them injections. But if you are okay with B12, why should I give you anything? So we select patients very carefully and do their profiling, examine them, do their blood testing, then decide whether they need protein supplement, omega 3, or vitamin D, or B12, or folic acid, or there are many more.
All right. I think my last question to you, sir, would be about GLP-1 drugs that you mentioned. So it's been, I think, exactly a month after the patent of semaglutide expired and the generic versions flooded the market. So, what's been your experience in the past 1 month? Are more patients coming to you with queries? Is there more interest? And in the long, I mean, as of now, how are you seeing? How do you see the wider affordability and access that has increased in obesity care in India?
Yeah, that's a very important question. Um, you know, I think even if generics were not there, even then popularity is increasing. So these 40 generics were not there, only original brands were there. Even then, there is increasing number of population which is demanding that, because we are putting more and more patients on these drugs, and the benefits are being seen by either their relatives or their friends, and they come.
So the word of mouth.
Uh, and since 1 month, as far as we are concerned, we have used very few generics. We are still sticking to the original brand, because I want to generate confidence in myself that should I use these generics or not. But some people who could not afford it, I have put, these are a couple of people. But I'm sure with the wider availability and accessibility of more and more people in, not in Delhi, but say in smaller town, say Saharanpur, Aligarh, they will be started on this because they can afford it. Now, perhaps a higher socioeconomic strata in Delhi perhaps was affording the earlier one, which was more expensive, and these generics can be afforded by many more people in the smaller cities. So the access to the smaller cities will be more, and we will probably see that increasing use in next couple of months. 1 month is too early in these cities, and certainly more number will be using. There's no doubt about it. And it is good in the way, in the sense that many people we return back because they could not afford it earlier. Now they can afford.
All right. I think that's all the questions we had for you. Thank you so much for joining us, Dr. Anoop Mishra. It was pleasure talking to you. Thank you so much for watching. I am Sneha Richarya with my colleague Sakiba Khan in New Delhi.